Hey, welcome back to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed, so always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know if you're new to my channel, I like to go deep. So I look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes. Now, you have to realize then the readings are going to be a little bit longer. So if you don't like long readings, this is probably not going to be the channel for you because, like I said, I go deep into different areas of the reading. It's not just what your person's going to do and why and what they're going to do. A lot of times we already know what they're going to do. We want to know why they're doing what they're doing. That's the whole point, and why we have to experience that particular experience. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. I am still choosing people from 2 months ago, and I was deathly sick yesterday. I was supposed to do a reading yesterday. Someone I canceled on her twice because I had a kidney stone. I have a kidney stone. And it's too small for them to do anything. And when that shit moves, you get nauseous. So I was nauseous literally all day. I tried to get on, couldn't do it. My apologies, but I feel better today, thank God, and ready to pick again. So keep writing the word of the video and know that if you haven't gotten chosen, you'll probably be getting chosen in the next few weeks because I have to go back to all those videos. Okay, excuse me. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading, like I said, you got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. We know that the word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out, and it's the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. That's important when we're looking at people that wear masks. You know, again, that's going to help us fill in the blanks. Oh, there was too many that actually fell out. Normally I would actually take them, but I'm like, it was too many. It wasn't like one, it was like 80. No, it's like 5, but we're not going to take them. We're going to go and we're going to pick neglect and self-neglect. I'm feeling a few things here. I'm feeling first and foremost that someone neglected you, but they're neglecting themselves too because they don't really want to neglect you at this part. And I feel like for a long time you neglected yourself because you're holding on to someone that emotionally cannot give you what you need. And this is what you've seen. So, and why I say, I mean, our emotional comfort is important. Without our emotional comfort, we don't feel safe. I feel like you're connected to someone that doesn't allow you to be seen, really be heard. You don't feel safe. And so staying connected to a person, even if you got this person, you'd be again in a place of self-neglect. So I feel like you're in between this phase of I want this person, but I don't. I don't know how to let go of this person, which happens a lot of times with karmic relationships. I'm laughing because I hear my dog in the background. Like, all right, so let's see what this person actually did when you were together. And the triggers, let's see. Okay. I feel like this person never allowed you to have a conversation without seeing that you were confronting them all the time. And then not just confronting, like they would lash out at you as if you were the enemy because they have so many anger issues, had nothing to do with you. So I feel like this person had a lot of trauma, baggage from past relationships. I feel like they grew up with a parent that guilted them, made them feel inadequate, made them feel so everything that they hear is heard through the wound of inadequacy, as there's something wrong with you, as their main core wound, which I believe is shame. And I say that because I looked down and I saw shame peeking out of the cards. And so we have to realize what's driving the boat, and what's driving the boat is that core root shame. So anytime having a conversation with this person is going to trigger them. We see what we look for, and the reptilian mind comes into play, and that's the survival mind, which tells us again that this person has lived in imbalanced environment and they had imbalanced relationships. So they don't know how to have a conversation. They don't feel comfortable speaking, and they don't feel comfortable hearing your opinion either. And then they're very easily influenced by everyone else. So I feel like you'll tell this person what you need from them on an emotional level, and then they'll go and they'll talk to other people and tell them what you say, and then they get feedback from those people. And I feel like those people are not on a high vibration. Birds of a feather flock together. So bad relationships, those people don't have good relationships, and they're asking their friends that have bad relationships what they should do about you because they don't trust themselves. And so they're being given bad advice all the time because they're not strong enough to stand on their own. They don't know you enough. They haven't given you enough time or real effort for them to really be able to determine that also. So it's not necessarily just the people that they surround themselves that are influencing them. They themselves has an intimacy issue, which is a trust issue, which is why they are not emotionally intelligent. They don't allow themselves to do any self-reflecting. I feel like this person deflects because everything that they hear is through the wound. And so again, there's a lot of projection that goes on, and then there's punishment because, oh, well, you made me feel bad, so now I'm going to pull back my energy. When meanwhile, they're not even navigating the relationship. They're not interactive in the relationship. They're not showing up for themselves. They're neglecting the relationships. And then when you call them out on it, it's all about the dramatic, over-the-top behavior, again, which is the trigger. You know that you're triggering this person because they're trying to make you take the focus off the fact that they're not giving you anything, that you're not allowed to be a person. And like I say, if you have to be able to feel as if you can be emotionally transparent. You have to feel as if you would be able to have someone to rely on. This person doesn't allow you to be a person because of their unhealed trauma, pretty much. Unless you want to go along with everything that this person says, everything that this person does, what you're going to get is someone that could be in a relationship for like 3 to 6 months and it looked good. And then all of a sudden, as the relationship gets real, where it's not all about the passion, where they really know you, well, now all they can do is stare at your flaws, to be honest with you. And it's because of their own shame. It's their flaws that they need to heal, that they project onto you. And because they stay in not healing themselves, the connection will never be healed. And will continue to rely on people that are not healed to navigate their life, and they will always stay in a low vibration. This is what we're seeing. Because again, they either act over the top dramatic or they're not there. So again, either they're physically there, but emotionally and mentally checked out. So you're like, okay, so when you're giving me the time, you're not really there. And that's because this person doesn't really feel safe. They have to recreate that drama in order for them to feel safe, which I feel like that's what they grew up in, that every bad relationship that has unfolded has that dynamic. And it's because this person doesn't really have an identity. They're not strong within themselves. So they're looking for someone to really enhance their life, but they're not capable of being in a relationship. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings for you. We went to the deep nitty gritty of the root, which is shame. When a person holds on to shame, their behaviorisms are going to be in alignment with sabotaging behaviorisms. And we see right here, their sabotaging behaviorism is holding back emotionally from you, not taking the time to get to know you, and relying on people that don't know you and don't aren't in good relationships themselves. So we have to look at the hidden truth. What does this person really feel down deep inside? Because again, this shows a person that's been through a lot of relationships, grew up in a poor environment, doesn't have any good role models to follow. But is that how they truly feel? And not that it matters, because you're still going to get the same result, but our ego wants to know, right? We all want to know, well, what does this person really feel on top of all their shame, and on top of it, what does it's I remember every detail of the day. I feel like this person remembers a time that you guys hung out, that you spent time, and they remember really every detail of that day, because either you kissed, you held hands, there was some sort of intimacy, but it wasn't sex. It was intimacy. And this person has a problem with intimacy, which is again, trust. So they don't realize from a spirit that, well, actually they do. They know that they have a very strong spiritual connection to you. This person's not spiritual, though. They don't really know the whole workings of spirituality. They just know that there is a lot of passion. And that passion is part of that spiritual energy. So that's number one. Number two, the relationship is so deep for this person. It's scary deep, but they like it. It's almost like when you go on a scary ride and you're like, oh my God, it's so scary, but you like it because it's like this person feels that way almost in this connection. So they do allow themselves to go back and replay, because it's boring where they are. It's boring to stay in the wound. See, because the wound makes us live safe. It's about survival. We perceive that we're not safe. So what we do is we try to control the environment. And that's what this person's doing. I'm going to control the environment so you can't hurt me. But what they don't realize is that they're hurting themselves, because they're neglecting themselves. They're neglecting themselves from not being, believing that they can have love, but they are love. There's no separation from love, no matter who you are. No matter who you are, where you live, what you look like, what you do, the perception that society gives us, the perception that our families can give us, the perception that our person can make us feel. But none of that is true, because we are love. That's where down here to be an expression of love. Spirit is inside of all of us, and that is to be the expression of love. So this person is cutting themselves off because they're allowing people in their environment to tell them that that's the correct thing to do. You were the best thing in my life. So again, the spiritual element of this connection is really what is making this person, really still hold on. Keep thinking about it. It's a form of escapism. They're more in the fantasy realm than they are in the physical realm, whatever they're doing. So I feel like if they're at work, they're not really at work. They're not grounded. They're imagining. They're in the imagination. And like I said, that's a form of escapism, when we don't feel like we can have love, or that we are loved. The energy is so heavy. What are we living for then? This person is starting to, whether they want to or not. Hold on a second. I don't know why my dog is going crazy. Hold on about that. So I feel like your person just is had a lot of time to reflect back, and they're realizing that they sabotaged this connection. And they sabotaged this connection because they listened to the wrong people. They listened to the wrong people because they again don't trust themselves when it comes to relationships. Now, they've been hurt. They've been hurt. So there's a part of this person that's like, I don't always believe that they didn't need to be in a relationship. You know, it's almost like this is going to sound crazy, and some of you might relate and others might not. You'll have to let me know in the comments. But it's almost like when you're a kid and you don't know that you can fall asleep. You think that you don't sleep. Like, I don't know if I sleep. And so, bottom line is, it's like, it's just something that happens. We're not in control of love, where this person is like, thought that they had to control love, thought that love looked like something totally different. And I think it's because this person has always wore masks. They've never liked who they are. They've been carrying around that shame for so long that it plays out within their relationships. And shame will play out as betrayal. It will play out as real dark karmic themes like victimization, betrayal, self-sabotage, where the person winds up really not liking themselves, really not believing in themselves, and usually having some sort of addiction in order to counteract the bad feelings. I feel like this person had a lot of different surface relationships. They emotionally got by breadcrumbing a bunch of different people and lying to those people. And so it just kind of staying void. And now what they're seeing is like, I actually fell in love with someone, where they couldn't help it. It's almost like, oh, I fell in love. Now what am I going to do? How do I get this off me? Like, almost like it doesn't happen that way. It just happens. And it's because the divine uses people to heal people. We wouldn't stop long enough to look at our wounds and our flaws if it wasn't a lot of times for the person that we're crazy about, person that we're connected to. Even if that person isn't an intimate partner, even if it's just our mother or father or brother, sister. I mean, those are intimate relationships. You're just not sleeping with them, but you understand what I'm saying. Even if it's just a friend, an acquaintance, these souls have potential to heal us by showing us a different perception of our situation. And I'm kind of feeling like this person like didn't think that they could fall in love, like I said. So you showed them a different perception, and it feels like air. Because could you imagine, after a while, just surface relationships, it's almost like you're going through the mechanical movement, but there's no heart connected. It's the emotional connection that makes you feel fulfilled. It's what makes you feel safe. It's what gives the relationship balance. This person never has balance in their relationships because they don't give. And then the other person gives, and then it plays out as a karmic relationship because no one wants to be in a relationship where no one gives. Person will say that they will go along with it, but then what happens is resentment builds up, and then shady behavior is what runs that type of relationship. You're continually trying to manipulate that person to get what you want, or you're taking other things in replace of the fact that the person's not emotionally giving you. They're not emotionally showing up. So then you're stealing money, or you're doing just shady things. Then it's okay to cheat. It's okay to do these other things because, hey, we don't really have a connection. And that's the problem, when a person doesn't want to take the time to build that emotional connection. And that's what this person didn't do with you, even though they had that connection. Even though it was very easy for the people in their environment to influence this person. They have common interest. If you leave, then who are we going to hang out with? If you don't have a relationship, then our failing relationships don't look that bad. See, birds of a feather flock together. And so your person felt the connection. They knew it. They weren't strong with themselves. They didn't trust themselves to do it. And now they're in regret because they're like, well, I see the difference now. Yeah, now you're depleted. So I'm just going to pull two more. Is there like any deeper that we can go? I can't fully be there for you as long as this other person is in my life. I know it's hard for you, but I have to go through this experience in order. So there's a karmic person. There's a karmic person that this person's not with that's influencing them. Which, if that's the case, then you shouldn't even be with this person, consider this person, because the loyalty, it's all about the loyalty. And that karmic that has put in time, that your person does not have feelings for that karmic in that way. But on an emotional level, they do, meaning they feel guilted, they're easily guilted, they're easily manipulated, they're bound together through a cord of guilt, betrayal, victimization, all lower energies. And that's because your person doesn't want to learn. And that's really what it is. I can't fully be there for you as long as, and that's why you won't be with this person. That's why you've held back. That's why you're not reaching out to this person, because the whole time that person was there. And so, but even though they weren't there, meaning I feel like your person went out to dinner by themselves, they did everything by themselves. They live a totally separate life, which is why you really were like, they're not with anyone. But there's still somebody that they're emotionally connected to, even though it's a connection of guilt, which doesn't feel good. It's one of victimization, which doesn't feel good. It's keeping this person in a lower energy. With you, they felt the higher connection. They felt that spiritual connection that fed them. They learned the spiritual lesson. They see it, but they still feel obligated to this person. I don't feel deserving, and it's affecting my levels of abundance and openness. So again, that's what it is. This karmic keeps your person in a low vibration, making them feel guilted, victimized, feeling as if, and they spend a lot of time doing it and have spent a lot of time doing it to keep this person still. And that's what the karmic lesson is for this person. As long as they stay there, and there's a sense that they feel they want to leave, but they want that person to do the dirty work. They want that karmic to break up with them. So I kind of feel like they're just kind of not doing anything. And so where they're playing this wait out game, which is bullshit. It's like, again, they're not getting up and they're not doing it. So they'll always be easily manipulated, because they're not coming to the realization of, this is what I want. Let me get up and do it. We don't get up and ask for greatness. We get up and we take it. If we wait for our turn, the turn will never come. And that's what this person needs to see. They need to see, I've been in this situation for quite some time. I'm not getting anything out of it. It's like, it's all about feeding this karmic. And I'm not even with the karmic. I'm by myself, but I feel responsible for this person. We are alchemists. We transform fear into love and shadow into light. So it's, again, I feel like that's the whole point, that this situation gave this person an opportunity to alchemize their fear and leave their situation, because they didn't want to do it. They were too afraid to do it. So you were the catalyst to do it. And though there's love there, they don't have the courage. They don't have the courage. They're still in a very low vibration, saying, well, I'm going to wait for that karmic to do it. But they're not looking at how they're treating you. And this whole time they didn't build an emotional connection to you. So you're back exactly where this karmic was when they started their relationship. It's the same thing. So that's what you need to know, that this is this person. And that's why that karmic feels the way that they do, because they're like, I put in so much time, effort, energy, like this cash pig or cash cow is mine. That's how they see it. They're like, I don't care. It's like, because God knows I didn't get anything else from it. So you have to say, okay, why did I have to get pulled into the mix of this? I was looking at my cards. Why do I have to And so we look at your inner child wounds because you're a magnet of whom what comes into your life. And it had to be something subconscious because no one says, hey, yeah, let me be with someone that emotionally can't show up with for me, but is connected to someone else, though isn't giving to that person on an emotional level, just financially, just they're getting other things. And that your person's very influenced. Okay, oppression. These are your inner child wounds. You know, you're not being oppressed, but you're watching somebody that you love being oppressed, someone that you care about, someone that you wanted to be in a relationship with. And that's, again, kind of awakening a trauma, I believe, of what was done to you, how it felt when it was being done to you, and possibly showing you how much healing you've actually done. You know, a lot of times we don't need to go through the karmic lesson ourselves, we need to witness it. You know, ironically, I did a reading on it for another channel, and that was the message for this person, that pretty much you found your magic because, again, at one time you were repressed. Again, you had a parent that held you down, or a relationship. You might have went through a like been in a narcissistic relationship where, again, the person stole your energy. And so that's not happening to you now. You're witnessing it, like I said. So this person wasn't there for you, so you poured into yourself, and that's where you found your magic. I also feel like being able to see this situation through the perception of someone else's eyes, you know, through someone else's experience, is helpful, because then what happens is that you can see, you know, you can forgive yourself because could forgive this person because you have empathy watching them go through what they're going through. You have special empathy because, like I said, you went through it yourself. So there's this karmic connection, spiritual connection of that's a deep-seated wound that if you came from a parent that kept you down or wound up dating someone of shame, that would continue to play out. However, being that you found your magic, you're not reaping the karmic consequences. However, you are learning through this connection, and you're learning to let go of past childhood traumas of whatever parent kept you down, and or even like being able to see the parent that kept the other person down, right? So if you had a mother that was like this karmic, that continually manipulated the like your father, like how the karmic is manipulating your person, or vice versa, the father with the mother with the father, take it as it resonates for you. But you witnessed that experience, and it was traumatic because you saw the parent that you loved, that was so sensitive, being oppressed. And then that carried over to you being not exactly the strongest person because, again, witnessing that, where you had to develop your boundaries. I feel like you did that, and because you found your magic. That's magic. Everyone has magic, but being able to navigate your life is really where the magic, we get to see the magic. So I feel like you didn't let, you know, you healed your wounds of that. However, you're witnessing this person's. And in that, it's like you're seeing the situation from a different perception, is what I'm getting at. And that's allowing you to heal and let go of childhood wounds. It's allowing you to actually forgive the person that you thought was so mean and like a horrible parent, because you're putting yourself in that person's shoes because you're witnessing it. And you're saying, you know, I used to hate the fact that my mother or my father used to do that, you know, to my other parent. And it was so traumatizing for me because I just saw that parent as a victim, where really here it is, you're like connected to someone right now and they're doing the same exact thing and they're acting like the victim, and at any time they could leave. So you're seeing the karmic and being like, well, if the karmic has to deal with that, I would actually also have to deal with that, because this person has feelings for me, but they're not capable of breaking away from the karmic in order to do it. So I would be the one that was continually oppressing this person to do what I wanted them to do, because they don't really want to do it. Because emotionally, they never connect, is the bottom line. And so that's big. And physical touch emotionally, because I consider physical touch emotional, right? It makes you feel comforted when you're a child. That nurturing, you didn't have that. You didn't have that because of the dynamic of that relationship. If your mother was continually oppressing your father or vice versa, then they was too consumed with each other and too drained and tired from trying to make their life work, that they couldn't give you emotionally. And what you see here is that this person is the same exact way. You would be going into the same exact dynamic that your parents had, which again was one parent emotionally didn't show up and the other person had to like do it all, show up, and they were angry and they felt that they were entitled to certain things because emotionally that parent wasn't showing up. And so all you saw was the unfairness growing up. But now again, you're seeing, hey, wait a minute, that would be me if I was with this person, and you wouldn't be happy. You know that you wouldn't be happy. So in the end, this person winds up feeling really, again, stays in shame. They're the ones that feel horrible. I want to just pull one more card. Which is, here they are, which is, how does spirit say that we should leave this connection? I mean, obviously, I feel like you learn the spiritual lesson. You're not supposed to be in a connection with this person. You were supposed to learn how to forgive, learn how to let go of whatever resentment or anger that you had from emotionally not given because of the way that you grew up. That's why you were brought to this relationship. You will also learn, like during that time, what you were supposed to pour into yourself, and you did pour into yourself. You found your magic. You again now are on a totally different path where you're feeding yourself emotionally, which will allow you now to attract someone that emotionally is going to give to you, instead of who your mother or father kept attracting, people that emotionally didn't give them. And that's because you learned the lessons, you found your magic, and that allows you to set appropriate boundaries and rules. This person never wanted any of that, because you weren't even allowed to have a conversation with them, because everything that they hear is through the wound. So they're broken, which makes it very easy for that karmic and people around them to influence them, to tell them what they should and shouldn't do. And because the karmic's getting something out of it, they're like, I've earned my space here, and you wouldn't want this anyway. Pretty much, I feel like the karmic did you a favor, because in the fact that they held this person back, you were able to see it like, wait a minute, this would be exactly what my parents had, and I hated that. So we end off on faithfulness. I commit to my mind, heart, and will. I am devoted to the needs of my own soul. I trust in myself, in God, and the universe. So again, this was the karmic lesson here would have been, if you wound up in this connection, you would have wound up in the same exact type of marriage that your parents had, which was not a good one. It was one that would have been emotionally empty for you. And so again, it's all about staying on track. So I believe, again, this was a karmic test and the test of your own faithfulness and spirit to continue. No matter what happens in life, no matter who comes to you, stay faithful to yourself, stay true to yourself, because it's how much you give is how much that wound is. And that's why that karmic also is like, I'm not letting go of this, because I would have my whole existence would be just one big wound, because I have spent so much time and energy on controlling that dynamic of oppressing this person to give me what I'm supposed to have. And that, like I said, is not a good marriage. And both parties aren't living. And so you have an opportunity to live. And that's what it's about, to be the expression of love by doing what you love and connecting to what you love, not whatever that is. That's such a negative energy. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. You let me know how you resonated.